Welcome to Smells Like Potential, the rewatch podcast you didn't know you needed. Everyone learns Roy and Keeley are no longer together. Trent Crimm joins the team to write a book on their approach, but isn't truly welcomed. Keeley and Rebecca make boss moves. And will AFC Richmond get a new striker, or will West Ham? Because he does not want to go to Chelsea.
Oh, I love how you incorporated the episode title in there, the Elvis Costello song title. Very
I was
cool.
trying to be slick.
Just a fun little tidbit. This is the only episode in 3 seasons of Ted Lasso where we don't see Nate at all. Not even
Mm,
a flashback. I'm guessing Nick Mohammed wasn't available, or perhaps couldn't figure out a way to work him into the script. So, hey, he
I
gets
don't feel like I missed him.
right. Yeah. I don't think anybody did at this point. But we do get Rupert. And I will just add that there was talk, it's still going on, in fact, about a Roy spinoff.
Now, will it be a current Roy spinoff or a Roy at Chelsea spinoff?
Oh, like a prequel.
Right.
No, I would say it need to be current and post, like what he's doing, because it would need to be the same actor. I don't think that it would make sense otherwise.
That's what AI is for,
De-age. They could just de-age him.
right? There was a theme of letting go of the past in this episode.
Yes, it almost affects the team's success on the field at one point because Roy refuses to allow the team to talk to Trent at all.
Right? It was not a recall to let it flow. It was a full stop, not to contribute in any way, shape, or form to what Trent is trying to accomplish.
Yeah, you noticed something I didn't see in Phil Dunster's acting question mark.
So, in the scene where Higgins brings in Trent to the locker room and Roy loses his mind, he says, "Can this day get any worse?" And boom, there's Trent Crimm. I think during the filming, Brett was very over the top as Roy, yelling about, "You can't talk to Trent," to the entire team. If you watch in the background, Phil Dunster can barely keep it together. He has to cover his face with his hand because he's laughing so hard at what Brett is doing.
Ted realizes is affecting the team's cohesion whenever Trent walks in the room. He calls Roy into the showers to talk to him. But he said, look, I don't know what the deal is, but you need to solve it because it's affecting the team. It's probably the harshest I've ever seen Ted go against Roy in this moment. And Roy takes it well. It turns out that it is a newspaper clipping from when Roy was 17 years old, and it was written by one Trent Crimm early in
Mhm.
his career, trying to prove himself. And he basically just blasts the young Roy Kent as overhyped and essentially not the kind of talent that everybody says he is.
It had to be hurtful to hear as a not technical adult
Yeah,
that somebody says, "You're not worthy to be on this field."
absolutely. It clearly affected him to the point where he carried it with him. Maybe it was motivating, but still, it's hurtful when you're 17 and someone really doesn't believe you belong at all on the field. Through all of his success, through all of his awards and celebrations, and they still love him at Chelsea, he releases that. And we get sort of an apology from Trent. He says, I was trying to be edgy. How do you stand out when 20 different pundits are saying the same thing? Well, you go the other way and you justify it. So he was that journalist. And Roy later jumps into a monologue about what it was like being at Chelsea for the game today and having the fans still cheer him and still sing his song. It might be the longest monologue that we get from Brett Goldstein as Roy in this show. And it's
Right.
very touching and it's very heartfelt. It feels like an unofficial Diamond Dogs moment. And Trent is there to witness it.
It's something that Keeley had asked Roy to work on, being emotional, being vulnerable, despite being in a room with someone that he has had animosity toward for years. I mean, Roy is arguably 41 years old at this point,
Yeah.
holding on to that since he was 17, but then to be able to open up and say, "I wish I had stayed at Chelsea."
Just enjoyed himself. He said, but that's not me. And Ted says, not yet. So he was open and he shared and he was vulnerable. And I like your take on that, that this is ultimately what Keeley is looking for. I've been wondering what is with all this drama about the two of them breaking up, but perhaps that's the point is that he needs to grow And the writers needed them to break up so he could have these kinds of moments through season 3 to be a better person for Keeley.
They both needed to grow in separate ways.
Yeah.
Uh, Rebecca also seemed to let go a little bit of her past because she's watching Rupert do what Rupert does best, which is gaslighting and manipulation. She shares with Keeley the story about how she met Rupert and how this wooing through charm bit that he applied to her got her defenses down. And
Yeah.
it's that a thin line between stalking and romance, right?
Yeah.
And watching him actively manipulate somebody else in this moment, it seemed like talking with Keeley, she was able to process through it. We did get to see some other boss moves in this episode. Keeley is trying so hard to build camaraderie at KJPR. I think she misses what she had at Richmond.
She has some very elaborate off-site activity that she proposes. Ted says, "Well, I was thinking an escape room, but that sounds exciting too."
Ayahuasca, no problem.
Yeah. Right? She's trying to connect with her staff. It seems like this is a staff that was hired for her. It seems like she had
Yes,
little to no influence in hiring them.
right. Did you notice that the lamb for the commercial looked like a panda?
Well, at first I thought, did they get a really tiny panda? And then I looked closer. No, that's not a panda at all. Yeah, what they do? Are they changing up their slogan and not lion and panda, but lion and sheep?
No, I think it's still panda and lion, but clearly Keeley cannot rent a baby panda.
Right. Not UK. Yeah.
So you do the best that you can and you find an animal that you can rent that looks somewhat like what you need.
Do you remember the advice Rebecca gave Keeley when she found out she was going to go off and be a CEO?
Lots of words of wisdom. Which specific piece?
She says, hire your best friend. We used to talk about this in our session.
Mhm.
And I feel like this is the writing team flipping that because I'm not a fan of this hire. I think it's a bad choice. I don't think she really fully considered the consequences.
You knew right away.
Oh, yeah. She just doesn't seem like she's grown since they were roommates. It seems like she's still a party girl, although she does have, I will give her credit, a really good idea that the directors of the video like. And I feel like based on the strength of that one comment, she's like, oh, this is what I'm missing, my best friend. And she's got good savvy about media and filming.
Well, and Keeley is so overwhelmed. This was a lifeline, and so she's grabbing that lifeline.
Yeah. Right. We find out in future episodes just how off base some of her gut instincts are as a marketer and as a PR person. So,
Right. There was a really difficult, fierce conversation, if you will, with Barbara about the hiring of this former best friend, former roommate. Barbara is a rule follower, right? It was one of the toughest pseudo interviews that I've watched on television. I actually felt bad for the character having to answer these questions because they were so insulting. There were better ways to word the information that you wanted, or can you provide me with a resume?
yeah, there's more professional ways she could have dealt with it. Absolutely. It was insulting. I want to ask you a question. Do you think that Keeley has ever been in Barbara's office until this episode?
I do not. I think she was a corporate flying object that existed off to the side of what Keeley wanted to accomplish. So I don't know that she's ever truly tried to make a connection with Barbara.
But here in this episode, we get to see her a little bit of a squirrel moment, right? She's trying to make her point against Barbara, like, that was so rude. Why would you do that? And this is a person that I've hired. And she's suddenly distracted by the mountain almost of snow globes over in the corner, an absurd amount of snow globes. We find out that Barbara got one for every place that firm is sent her.
I feel like it humanized Barbara for Keeley, seeing all the snow globes and
Yeah.
imagining what life is like having gone to that many cities
I think it gave her a possible connection, a possible move forward.
to build those relationships with her colleagues. And we see another boss move with Rebecca. She just walks into the men's restroom to neg Zava.
Just stands there next to him at the urinal, by the way. It's a particularly vulnerable moment for most men. Zava doesn't even flinch.
I didn't realize this even on multiple rewatches. Other than insulting him, she just walks out.
Yeah, she fails to actually make an offer to say you should come and play with Richmond. What's weird is I remember her saying that. I distinctly, if you had asked me before I rewatched this, Mike, what happens in this episode when she goes in the bathroom? I would say, oh, she's mean to him and she says you should come play for Richmond. She does not actually even suggest that he should come play for Richmond. It's sort of implied because she's so mad. She just says, you will never know if you go play with this other team if it's really you. So there is an implied comparison with Richmond because he would clearly know with a team that's the lowest in the rankings if he
How
can pull them
great
up,
he is.
how great
Right.
he truly is. Yeah,
Way to, appeal to his diva behavior.
it is a true Rupert move, right? I liked a moment in this episode where the team truly pulled together. We see Jamie step up with an idea. He calls out Chelsea's defensive maneuvers. They are blocking up our passing lanes. It's a tactical conversation that they have very quickly in the locker room with Trent observing. They work out a tactic together and they're like, let's do this. Okay, all right. They put it into action and they succeed in getting a tying goal off of Danny's face. But hey, a goal is a goal.
Goal is a goal.
But I really liked seeing that particular arc of Jamie, his redemption and his leadership. We see another huge one of these later in the third season that's crucial. So I didn't realize that there had been a few seeds planted until I rewatched this episode.
Right? I feel that there's a budding Jamie-Danny friendship as well. There's
Yeah.
a moment where they're on the field, and Danny says, "I haven't been this nervous since I played for El Chapo's youth league." It's like, "Oh, yeah, I would be nervous too."
I agree with you that Jamie and Danny, they refer to each other as amigo. We see other connections happen in the last episode with Paddington Bear. There's a conversation. So I think there's a,
Talking about shoes and no
yes,
weddings and a funeral, so
oh,
I
that's
love their
true.
budding little friendship.
That's true. I kind of forgot that. Yeah. This is a rare thing, by the way, because they are the two aces, right? They're supposed to hate each other in most
Right.
romantic comedies or comedy shows. The two star players never get along. So it's a testament to the culture Ted has built. Yeah. When you can get them to play along and work well together, it's just magic. From a music standpoint, I was thrilled as a fan of Bill Withers to hear the opening notes of Lovely Day.
Mm.
And it turns out it was a mashup with Lizzo and Her Good as Hell. I think it's Pomplamoose is the name of the act that made this mashup. And then there's also a reference to the British version of The Office. And no surprise, Ted, he thinks The Office is the American Office, the US Office only. And then he remembers, he goes, oh, that's right. They made a pre-make, uh, not a remake, a,
Pre-make.
a pre-make.
And I have only really ever seen The British Office.
I had no idea that you had not seen The American Office, whereas I'm the opposite. I've only ever really seen The American Office. I think I've seen a couple of clips from The British Office. And of
But
course,
the audio for parkour lives rent-free in my head.
okay, that is American Office, yes.
We have 2 new faces. We've talked a little bit about Shandy Fine, Keely's former roommate and potentially re-upped best friend. Shandy was that life preserver at the commercial shoot that Keely feels like she needs support in this new venture that she's doing. Shandy, unfortunately, in that awkward interview, has 0 qualifications to work at a PR firm. We'll see how she plays out and hope that she provides Keely the support that she's looking for.
Just a quick thing on Shandy. Her name, Shandy Fine, is a pun on the alcoholic beer mix and an undemanding standard of quality. A shandy is a popular British beverage made by mixing beer with carbonated soft drink or lemonade, kind of like the product they're working on. So paired with her surname, Shandy Fine, it sounds phonetically like shandy, comma, fine, as in ordering a casual pub drink that is just okay. She represents that messy, low alcoholic beer kind of experience and part of Keeley's life, her past. I had a thought that perhaps it wasn't accidental, the naming of her former roommate.
Nothing is accidental in this show. And fantastic Diva of a character, Zava. Beard screamed whenever he heard the name. The players got very excited that Zava might come play for Richmond. Zava is based on Zlatan Ibrahimovic and a bit of Eric Cantona. I have to say that both Ibrahimovic and Cantona played for Manchester United. Have to throw that in. Sorry, y'all.
I mean, the actor they picked it could be his brother. They really picked someone that's got the same sort of look and feel. He's tall, he's thin, he's got long hair. I don't follow Zlatan a lot, but I knew immediately.
Okay, so I have a theory that there is a 1980s reference in this episode, and I want to know if you follow along with me.
Hit
I'm
me.
going to say a quote, and you're going to tell me if you heard something similar to it in this episode.
Okay.
He's sick. My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid who's going with this girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 Flavors last night. I guess it's pretty serious.
Yes. One you're thinking of course, is from Ferris Bueller. That's
Yes.
the quote. It directly relates to Leslie Higgins' reference where he gets his intel on where Zlatan is going to land. Sorry, Zava. I don't mean Zlatan. I mean Zava. Is through sort of this convoluted network of connections.
I'm going to read the Higgins quote. A friend of my wife knows an agent whose masseuse moonlights as an airline steward on private jets. Now, she wasn't working today, but her coworker who can read lips, he saw Zava mouth the word Chelsea a lot.
Which also could be perfectly correct, but he's just saying, I don't want to go to Chelsea. Why do you want me to go to Chelsea? I won't know if I'm good at Chelsea. Like that, there could be a whole bunch of different conversations where he says the name a lot, explaining that he doesn't want to go to Chelsea, which is the name of the episode. Lovely. Thank you for the 80s reference. And thank you for tuning in. We'll catch you all tomorrow for our reaction to season 3, episode 3, 451. And our outro quote: Hey, look, man, I don't know what your beef with Trent is. I'm going to need you to order off the vegan menu right now and squash it because your ego is about to sabotage a whole lot more than a silly football match. You feel me?